Welcome to 123 Minimize with Jody and Linnea, the podcast where we discuss easy minimalism for busy moms. Whether you're a new mom in need of practical decluttering tips or an experienced parent seeking simplified routines, you've come to the right place. I'm Jody, wife and full-time working mom of 4. In 2017, I founded the Minimalist Mom Facebook group, now with over 270,000 members. My passion is creating a simple, healthy, and happy home where my family can thrive.
I'm Linnea, a homeschooling mom of 4. In 2021, my family and I sold our house, downsized to a 36-foot travel trailer RV, and embraced minimalism. Living with less has been liberating, and I'm thrilled to share tips and experiences to help you simplify your life. Whether you're sitting down, getting stuff done, or lacing up your walking shoes, welcome to the 123 Minimize podcast.
In today's episode, we will be talking about overcoming consumerism. So stay tuned for some insights and thought-provoking discussion.
So maybe you're doing a great job purging and decluttering your house. It feels really good. It's a lot of work and decisions. You're making progress, but then what happens? How will you keep your house from just getting cluttered up again?
Right. It's important to step back and take a look at your spending habits and how consumerism is involved in your life.
Yeah.
Consumerism is a hard topic for a lot of people because it's not like you can just stop buying stuff ever.
Yeah.
Very few of us are like self-sustainable as far as groceries. You know, you'd have to have livestock and a really robust garden.
Right.
It's not like people didn't live like that for a lot of time, but it's rare now.
Right.
So we're all going in the store at least once a month, usually a couple times a week, right?
Yeah.
And so it's constantly having to make decisions over and over about what not to or to buy. So it's not something we can just remove. We're not going to shop anymore. We're not going to shop.
Right.
And it's over.
One thing that you can do when you are going to go and shop in the store is to make a list and stick to it. And if you see something in the store that you want, that you're tempted to impulse buy, there are some different things you could try. A lot of times I do this with my kids. They're like, I want this thing. Okay, let me take a picture of this item with you, with your face. So I remember this is something you want and we'll think about it. I've also heard of the tip of somebody putting it in their cart and walking around the store with it and then checking back at the end before you check out and look at the item again and like, is this really something I want? And making a second wave of decision, because you know, sometimes you see something and you're like, oh yeah, I want that, and you put it in your cart. But then maybe by the end you're like, no, I don't really need that. I'll put that back.
Right. One thing that I've done is I've thought about how much time this item would cost.
Yeah.
So at times when I'm employed right now, I haven't always been employed, but so I'd take like, this is how much of my husband's time or my time, depending on who's bringing the money in, right? So decide how much you really make per hour of working, and then how much that item is worth. So is this worth 15 minutes of my time? Is this worth a half an hour of my time?
Yeah.
If you make more money, obviously things will get to be worth less of your time.
Right.
So it's kind of deciding, because you are really trading your time for that thing.
Right.
So that was one thing that's helped me, especially with large purchases.
Yeah.
Because it could be a week or two or a month of my time.
Right.
Does it feel worth it?
Right.
Do I really need that thing enough? Sometimes it's like, sure, I really do enjoy having a dishwasher. Do I need a dishwasher? Like need? I would personally say no. A lot of people don't have dishwashers.
Right.
I know how to wash dishes. I didn't grow up with a dishwasher.
Right.
So I would say no, but it is like a want that I really enjoy.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I do want that.
Right.
So having the money for it and then purchasing it. So
well, I can speak to that because we live in an RV with 6 people.
Yeah.
And we do not have a dishwasher.
Right.
And that was a hard adjustment when we went full time. But it is what it is. We just wash our dishes and that's it.
Right. So it's a glorious want.
It is.
But it's not probably a need, whereas access to water is a need.
Right.
Shelter is a need.
Right.
Yeah. Needs and wants stuff.
Well, and then another question that you can ask yourself, I do this all the time because in an RV, if something doesn't have a place, it cannot be there because it'll be in our way. So when I'm going to buy something, I have to ask, where am I going to put this?
Right.
I have to know before I bring it in the trailer because it'll drive me nuts if it's just sitting on the counter. We have very little counter space and we use every inch of it. I will not allow one little rock sitting on my counter, which happens several times a day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
With my kids. Whose rock is this? Put this somewhere else.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a big question we ask. Where am I going to put this?
Right.
And is this item going to bring me joy?
Yeah.
Or is it going to stress me out having to take care of it?
Right.
Clean it? Is it, I don't know. Is it an item that you're going to have to move often? Is it going to be in your way? Is it, yeah. Like, for instance, I impulse bought a holiday little decorative pillow.
Yeah.
For Christmas, for our RV.
Yeah.
This cute little, like, fuzzy pillow was red and it said joy. And then on the other side, it was like plaid. And I thought, gosh, this is so cute. This is such an easy little thing. It wasn't that expensive. We can, cheer up our little space for Christmas. That darn pillow fell off the couch every time we sat down. And after a couple of weeks, I'm like, get this thing out of here. I hate this pillow.
It didn't bring you joy anymore.
It did not.
Even though it said joy, it didn't do it.
It did not.
No.
And then I had to store it.
Yeah.
In our storage in our RV.
Right.
Which pillows, not, you could squish it down. I guess you could get a vacuum seal thing. I should try that. But I still have it, but I think I might get rid of it this year when we decorate for Christmas because it does not bring me joy.
Right. Absolutely. So when I was in the beginning of my minimalism journey, maybe midway through, when you're really realizing that you can get rid of stuff, but then more stuff comes in.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was on this purge cycle where I would get rid of stuff. And that gives you, to me, it gives me like a boost of endorphins or something because it's like you get rid of stuff. It looks so clean and tidy, but then stuff would creep back in, whether it was gifts from people, which I love friends and I love gifts and I appreciate the gifts, but maybe I didn't have a place for it or it wasn't quite what I would have bought for myself.
Right.
Or hand-me-downs, which, you look through stuff. It could even be decor, even.
Right.
Toys, holiday items. I definitely received stuff. And I received it with gratefulness, but then also was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And then so I started accumulating again. And so I had to go back through all that decision-making to get rid of stuff. And then I'd accumulate and I'd get rid of stuff. And I would just do that. It was almost like another job. Just around and around. And I enjoyed getting rid of stuff, which not everybody does, but I did enjoy it. But then I'd be like, why do I have to do this shelf again? Where did this stuff come from?
Right.
Are we using it?
Yep.
So one thing I did was I went to the library because I was trying not to buy anything, right? And I requested a book called A Year Without a Purchase. And this family went a year, and they had kids and everything, went a year without purchasing anything. Socks, underwear, anything that wasn't food, consumable. So of course, toilet paper, of course, food, of course, gasoline, of course, those are all assumed. But the other stuff, like he didn't purchase gifts. They didn't, they maybe did an activity. The takeaways from it was they really stopped that kind of need to consume.
Sure.
The downside, they saved a lot of money too, which is a positive. They had to explain it to the friends that they were doing this as a test. They're going to write a book. And so there was a reason.
Sure.
They had a set time period. The downside was when you didn't have that kind of like purchasing fulfillment, he gained weight because they purchased food and snacks.
Oh no.
It's like they kind of replaced it. Because what can we purchase that would get that little itch? And it was like ice cream, cookies, snacks. And so he said that was a downside. It's like you still wanted to be in that reward. Wasn't enough to reward yourself with like a walk, a nature walk. Or, it's like the brain just wanted a little bit of celebratory activity at the store. So I thought that was funny that he was real about it. And he talked about underwear wearing out or going on a business trip and not bringing enough extra socks, like forgetting. And he would normally just run to the store.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He would wash in the sink and try to get, I don't think they dried all the way. Like, it was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
A funny story. So, really thinking about how consumerism is involved in your life. One thing I do is I'll add stuff to the Amazon cart.
Yes.
And just leave it.
Yeah.
Try, if you can, leave it for 30 days, or maybe you do it like a paycheck to paycheck type thing where you have a set amount of money.
Right.
I try to leave it in there for 30 days, especially if I'm on the fence about it.
Yes.
Like, oh, that looks cute, but, or somebody needs it, but can I find it cheaper? Can I find it used? Mm-hmm. One thing that has been helpful to me is to have a paper on the fridge or in my office or something while I'm going through this process that talks about minimalist tips for shopping. And we actually have a PDF that we can link to this podcast that goes through these tips. So number 1 would be use what you have, make it without buying anything or borrowing from a friend. Mm-hmm. So what are some examples of what this could be?
Books from the library.
Yep.
Or even on Libby.
Yep.
I've been doing that with homeschooling with my kids.
Right.
Just,
Yeah, you can't use the library if you're moving from state to state.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of the books we want are hard to find, and we don't have room for a ton of books.
Yeah.
Some books are fun to have physically, but having...
For the visual side of it, yeah. Something I've done, not everybody would be into this, but let's say I needed a curtain for something. I might, use something from another area of the home or make something. Mm-hmm. So I do have a sewing machine. I've enjoyed sewing since I was a kid. So going around the house and trying to figure out, is there anything else I could use with this?
Right.
Maybe I want to reorganize my laundry room or something, and I'm looking for a bin.
Yeah.
Well, I might look around the house for a bin
Sure.
that I could repurpose. Oh, maybe this bin is full of something I don't need.
Yep.
Donate that on a Facebook Marketplace or like a buy nothing group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Marketplace or to a thrift store. Mm-hmm. And then use that bin to organize in my laundry room, and now I bought nothing.
Right.
Of course, that takes time.
It does.
It does. But I found it fun at different time periods to kind of go on a hunt. Another thing is to maybe borrow from a friend.
Right.
And also lend to friends. We want it to be a two-way street. Maybe tools, or maybe something like a waffle maker where you're not totally sure if you want to buy a waffle maker, but your kids want to try waffles. I've done that kind of stuff where borrow something or lend. I've lent out a donut maker, like a waffle maker.
Yep.
To a friend who who at that time period, you couldn't just go buy gluten-free donuts. And I'm like, you can make them. And that's, I think, why I had it originally is my son couldn't participate in ever trying a donut. And so I had the donut maker. I try not to have too many different appliances.
Right.
So maybe have like one, and then if that breaks, pick a different type of contraption for a while, and you get to experience that. And of course, using what you have.
Yes.
Looking around, I have gone times in my life where I didn't have like a hand mixer. Yeah, you can just use a spoon or a whisk. Sometimes it takes a little bit more elbow grease or whatever. Mm-hmm. But at one point in time, that didn't exist. So sometimes when I'm feeling frustrated where I don't have something, whether budgetary reasons or because I don't want to store more stuff,
right,
I just think about my great-grandma. I mean, she didn't have any of this. They didn't have indoor plumbing, which I know people did at that time period, but not where she lived. Electricity. Any of these things we use. And she had to make all her bread from scratch and take care of 14 kids. So if she could do it, I can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 2 on the list would be buy used. So this could be from a thrift store, marketplace, wherever.
Or
eBay.
A buy nothing group.
Buy nothing group.
There are other groups that you can join like that where you can community. I know there's a Nextdoor app.
Yep.
Where you can connect with people in your community and...
Yeah. So again, this takes time, which not everybody has. But if you do have the time, go out and look for it used, if you can. It really depends on what it is. I'm definitely going to go to the store and buy a fresh pair of underwear. I'm
yes.
not, there are limits to all of
yes.
this. But just kind of keep it in consideration. Toothbrush too, totally buying that new.
Yes.
And then the third on the list would be buy new, but keeping in mind that everything you buy has to be maintained, which will take more of your future time and your money. Again, we'll put the link to the free document that you could print out or have on your phone to remind you about tips for shopping when you're a minimalist. Another thing I've done in the beginning is to like take my debit or my credit card and just put like a Post-it note around it. Like to remind myself, you can write whatever or nothing on it, but to remind yourself not to that quick grab,
Yep.
you know, or to carry cash instead of cards for a while, because you do have that emotional, like the cash is like more real. When it's out, it's out.
Yep.
And a card is just kind of this vague idea of what's in there.
Yep.
And so having like cash and using cash to make your purchases.
Yep.
I know I'll definitely stay in my budget when I have cash in my purse.
Yes.
Then when I have a card,
Yeah, because when you run out, it's
done.
That's it.
Yeah, you got to put it back at the register.
Right.
So you're definitely keeping track.
I've also heard people saying that they will go to the length of either deleting shopping apps like Amazon or deleting their credit card from it.
Sure.
So that if they have something in the cart and they want to buy it, they're going to have to get up and go and get their card and put the card number in. And those extra steps, if it's something they actually don't want, having to do those extra steps might stop them from getting something that they don't actually need.
Right. Right. Because this definitely isn't about you not having what you need.
No,
It's about mindfulness, about consumerism.
Exactly.
Right.
Another tip is to, if you really have a hard time impulse buying.
Yeah.
If you're that mom, not pointing at any fingers at myself right now,
Yeah.
who likes to go to Target and so sucked in with all the impulse buy opportunities, you can do grocery pickup.
Yes.
That way, you're just shopping and what you get is what you get, and you don't have to even have temptation inside the store.
Right. That is incredibly helpful. And for time.
Yeah.
Because you get some of your time back.
Exactly.
Let them shop for you.
I know.
Yeah. You know, that's such a good invention they came up with. I remember thinking that when my kids were babies and toddlers. I'm thinking, I wish I could just pull up. And they'd bring like 3 groceries out to me. Because I had to take in this whole mess.
I know.
And they're sleeping.
Oh,
and wouldn't that have been nice? We missed it.
Oh, I know. I used to wear a child in a baby carrier and have, and they would be like Houdinis getting out of the buckles on there and like grabbing jars of pickles and dropping them on the floor. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes. I think we dropped a candle. I say not me, at a store, and just glass everywhere, and you're like, I can't believe this is happening, right? Like I'm really trying to manage, but totally outnumbered. Yeah. That's one funny story is I was in Whole Foods and little kids, so they're all in the carts, whatever ages, like the baby, the toddlers, everyone fits in the cart together, and not even a big Costco cart, but a Whole Foods cart. And we were kind of by the olives, you know, the area, and one of my kids, I don't know how old, probably 2. She's like, I want olives. And my other daughter's like, we're on a budget. Yelled it out for the whole, and people looked, and I'm like, well, I suppose I've said that. Like, maybe not right now, we're on a budget. Like, oh, you know, where it's going to come back to slapping with things like I can't get food for my children. But it's a funny story now. At the time, I'm like, oh. So I think it's a good idea to have a general idea of a budget of what you're spending. And I mean everything, mortgage, utilities, everything. And if you're able to, you know, if you have a partner in your life, to sit down together at least once a month and just go over it. Like, what was our budget? How did we do? And be realistic about it.
Yeah.
Did we have enough food for the month? You know, did we plan enough? With food prices fluctuating right now and going up, it is a good idea to kind of be realistic. Food to me is a priority more than clothes and other things like that.
Right.
You know, and I'd rather like even limit air conditioning to make sure everybody has healthy food in their bodies.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't even grow up with air conditioning. So that is also, at least where I live, it's mostly a want, but it sure is nice.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. But yeah, I didn't have it as a kid, and I don't think a lot of people did back in the 80s, you know, 90s.
Right. I agree. You know, really looking at the budget and becoming aware. Like if you're aware, I'm buying things that we don't actually need, or, you know, just to be aware of what you're doing so that you can change what you're doing.
Right.
So you can't change if you don't if you don't have a clue,
No.
you think that everything's fine, I mean, I've done that before. If I'm out getting groceries, then when I go home and I'm adding that line to my budget, all that stuff goes into groceries.
Yeah.
But if I'm not paying attention to like, oh, well, I actually bought myself a shirt.
Yes.
And I grabbed a decorative item and, other things that really weren't on the list. And I really didn't need them.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted to. Well, if I'm not paying attention to what I'm actually buying, that just gets lumped in with groceries. And I think, oh, we spent so much on groceries.
Yeah. I've totally done that.
What's the truth here?
Right.
Not to like make ourselves feel bad or guilty, but just to, if you're wanting to make a change, you gotta be aware first. And then you can make a goal and try some of these tips to start creating new habits so that you're not continuing in the same path where your house is just filling up and your bank account is empty. And it really can make you feel unhappy and feel frustrated.
And it's really good, I think, to have a purpose for this stuff. Like, so if you can have in your budget that you want to have like $100 a month on decor, and that's what you want to do, and you're okay with like bringing stuff in and taking stuff out, that's fine. That's totally fine. It's not about like there's a one size fits all. For us, I like to kind of, first in the beginning of this was paying off debt, paying off student loans, paying off cars, everything. We used these kind of minimalism ideas to get ourselves out of debt. And now I like to have money putting away for retirement or for the kids' education or for vacations.
Right.
And so those are my purposes. It's not about not having what I want. It's about making my money go where I want.
Yes, exactly. Being intentional.
Yep.
Doing things on purpose, not just habits that you're not even aware of that they're interfering in two different ways. If you're wanting your home to be more clutter-free, and it's not, and you're wanting to have money to put towards other things, like you said, vacations or other things, and you're not having it, solving, identifying and coming up with ways to create new habits can solve both of those problems for you if that's where you're at in the process.
Right. And I think it is important to kind of remember that you can't buy minimalism.
Right.
It's not about remodeling your entire house.
Yeah.
I mean, people can get in debt trying to buy the look of minimalism.
Right.
And they're not making their life easier.
Yeah.
They're just replacing all their bins with white bins, replacing all their, and it might look very aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
But did it make your life easier?
Yeah.
Did it free up money to do things that you really want to do with your family?
Right.
Time passes.
Right.
It passes amazingly fast.
Right.
And so it is important. I even would write myself a note of like, you can't buy minimalism. Like, it's easy to throw money at things.
Yeah.
Like, it feels easy at the time, right? Like, I don't care what it is. Oh, I'm going to start exercising. Well, let me go spend hundreds of dollars on shoes and clothes. Maybe if you have the money, that's fine. Or maybe start exercising.
Yeah.
And then if it sticks for like a month, reward yourself with a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the reward for all your hard work.
Right.
And it's probably you're going to stick to it a little bit longer because you put the work in.
Yes.
And so that's why it's a good idea, I think, when you start minimalism, is to maybe set a time period where you're not going to buy anything.
Yeah.
And write down everything that you feel like buying.
Sure.
And try to see that pattern.
Yep.
If that's something you want to do. And then just watch your bank account fill up. And then, reward yourself with a big vacation or something that you want for your family, like a trampoline. I know not everybody goes for that, but our previous house, we had a trampoline. Nobody got hurt. We were always really safe with it. But it was a reward that we had, because we had money for it.
Yeah.
And so it was really exciting for the kids. And they have lots of good memories jumping on the trampoline safely.
I think too, it's good to recognize that there might be a reason for some of the impulse buying. I think a lot of us just love that dopamine rush. Something so exciting about buying something. If you're buying stuff just for that, but it's stuff that you don't really need and later it makes your life difficult.
Yeah.
Then maybe recognizing that that's why you're doing it. Like, I can even see that Friday night comes and it's like, oh, it's the weekend. Let's go shopping. Let's go out and let's eat out. Let's do this and that, because you just want to feel celebratory or whatever, just that exciting. But if you recognize that and you're wanting to make a change, maybe you can just identify other things you can do for a dopamine rush. Giving someone a hug, or petting a dog, or going for a run.
Yeah, watching a movie. That could be a potentially free thing, especially in the cold, dark months where we had our outdoor time in the day, playing a game.
Yeah.
That can be fun or frustrating sometimes, depending on different ages of kids. I've definitely been like, okay, here we go. Even if you can't go outside because it's the dead of winter, we have a small, here I go, trampoline again. But we have a small like rebounder that the kids like, and we'll watch something and take turns jumping on it.
Yeah.
Or do little like exercises that are just to get the wiggles out.
Sure.
Whereas, sometimes we'll have like a dance party, or on Friday nights we like to do homemade pizza and popcorn sometimes, depending on if we're not doing other stuff. We do that more in the winter. In the summer, I think we're just out and it gets dark later.
Right.
And so we've eaten by the time we're kind of settling in.
Right.
We ate 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
So, even keep a list of stuff.
Right.
So some people like to browse, and if you can browse without buying, that's great. I struggle with that because I don't, it feels like a waste of time. So I'd rather not go in the store, but other people, that is a great thing. Doing more self-care type stuff, like getting a massage.
Yeah. Taking a bath.
Yeah.
My husband and I love to put on our favorite comedian and just listen for a little while and just laugh together.
Yes.
I love to play music, and to me that's just super exciting, and I get tons of dopamine.
Yeah.
So maybe you have a hobby that you can do and to get that dopamine. I know some people really love sewing or knitting or interaction with friends. Call up a friend you haven't talked to in a while and just visit with them. That can be really...
Yeah, what I've done recently, if I'll text a friend and say, hey, do you want to hang out? Often they're like, yeah, let's go on a walk. So instead of sitting, because I think we all have desk jobs now. We don't want any more sitting. Walking with a friend and talking. You got to meet somewhere. It's a little bit of coordinating, but you do come away from it with like a good conversation and hopefully a good long walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that is helpful is to unfollow stores that are advertising to you on Facebook. You can always go back and refollow them if you're interested, but just to get a break of that constant advertising. Buy this, new season, new clothes, buy this, you know?
It's true. And that's a wrap for today's episode about overcoming consumerism.
If this all feels really overwhelming to you, we just wanted to let you know that we have a membership group that you can join and you can connect with us, and we have coaching videos in there and additional free resources so we can help you on your minimalism journey. We hope you enjoyed delving into this topic with us and found a few tips that might help you on your journey. We want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners for tuning in. Your support and curiosity are what keeps us going. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an opportunity to explore new ideas and perspectives. And if you're inclined, leave us a review, which helps to spread the word to others who might enjoy the journey too.
As always, feel free to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram to share your thoughts, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, stay motivated. Take care.